Hello, students. Today, once again, we come across a very interesting story, A Question of Trust, written by Victor Canning. This is a story about a man who's in his 50s, who runs a business of his own of locks and keys. But he has a very expensive hobby, that is to collect rare books. And to collect rare books is not very easy, you need to pay a lot. So, to get money or to finance his hobby, he robs houses, and what he does is he breaks open the safes, as we call lockers in India. So, abroad they call it a safe. So, he breaks open the safe, he's an expert, and he robs the jewels or money in the safe to keep up his hobby, which is quite expensive. Now, again, he decides to rob a house. Now, what happens this time? Does he succeed or he gets caught? Is all the story about. Now we move into the story. Everyone thought that Horace Danby was a good, honest citizen. He was about 50 years old and unmarried, and he lived with a housekeeper who worried over his health. In fact, he was usually very well and happy, except for attacks of hay fever in summer. He made locks and was successful enough at his business to have two helpers. Yes, Horace Danby was good and respectable, but not completely honest. 15 years ago, Horace had served his first and only sentence in a prison library. He loved rare, expensive books, so he robbed a safe every year. Each year, he planned carefully just what he would do, stole enough to last for 12 months, and secretly bought the books he loved through an agent. Now, walking in the bright July sunshine, he felt sure that this year's robbery was going to be as successful as all the others. For 2 weeks, he had been studying the house at Short Oak Grange, looking at its rooms, its electric wiring, its paths, and its garden. This afternoon, the two servants who remained in the Grange, while the family was in London, had gone to the movies. Horace saw them go, and he felt happy in spite of a little tickle of hay fever in his nose. He came out from behind the garden wall, his tools carefully packed in a bag on his back. There were about £15,000 worth of jewels in the Grange safe. If he sold them one by one, he expected to get at least 5,000, enough to make him happy for another year. There were 3 very interesting books coming up for sale in the autumn. Now he would get the money, he wanted to buy them. He had seen the housekeeper hang the key to the kitchen door on a hook outside. He put on a pair of gloves, took the key, and opened the door. He was always careful not to leave any fingerprints. So here we are learning about a man called Horace Danby. So Horace Danby was a very good and honest citizen. So by nature, yes, and in the society he was a really good and honest man. And he was about 50 years old, he was unmarried, and he lived with a housekeeper who worried over his health. So he lived with a person who was worried over his health. In fact, he was usually very well and happy except for attacks of hay fever in summer. So Horace Danby was really a healthy person, but it was only during the summer he used to get hay fever. Hay fever is nothing but, see, sometimes some people have this, we call it in India as allergy. When you go out early in the morning, or when you, in the dust, when you work in the dust, when you go out and in the mist, you go in the plants, the pollen, so you start sneezing, you start getting a runny nose, isn't it? So these are the symptoms of an allergy. Like all of a sudden, from nowhere, you're fine and suddenly you start sneezing, your nose starts watering, and you have this cold sort of a feeling, as though you've got a cold. So that is called hay fever. Okay, you don't get temperature, but you catch a cold. So this is due to an allergy caused due to different reason. It can be pollution, it can be pollen, it can be dust, or it can be this early morning mist, or some people can't stand even very hot weather, so that also can cause them hay fever. So here Horace Danby had hay fever attacks in summer. So now he made logs and was successful enough at his business to have two helpers. So he used to make logs and he also had two helpers, and he was quite successful. He was happy in his business, no loss or nothing. He was very fine. Now Doris Danby was good and respectable but not completely honest. So Doris Danby was very good and respectable, but he was not completely honest. Why was he not completely honest? We get to know now. 15 years ago, Horace had served his first and only sentence in a prison library. He loved rare, expensive books. So he robbed a safe every year. Each year he planned carefully. So here, as I told you, 15 years ago, Horace had been in the jail for a robbery, and here for his first and only sentence in a prison library. So for the first time he was in the prison library, and he loved rare and expensive books. So to buy these rare and expensive books, he used to rob a safe every year. Safe is nothing but a locker, as I explained to you earlier. So each year he used to plan carefully where and how to steal, and he used to steal money enough for 12 months. He was not greedy again in stealing. He used to calculate, okay, how much money I need, and probably if I take this much is going to be enough. So a robbery which was enough to serve him for 12 months, that is 1 year, because every year he used to rob, right? And then he used to secretly buy books through an agent whom he knew. Now as he was walking in the bright July sunshine, it was nice and bright with the sun out, and then he felt sure that this year's robbery also, so as he was walking through, he felt, oh wow, this year also my robbery is going to be successful like every time, and I can get some money. So what he's been doing for 2 weeks, he's been observing a house. These people, there's a big house, and the owners of the house live in London, so they keep coming and going, and they have two housekeepers, servants, and what they generally do is they take care of the house when the owners are not there. But that time, the day he wanted to rob, he saw that the housekeepers or the people who take care of the house went for a movie. So it was quite interesting and happy for him, because nobody would be at the house and he can finish robbing the safe. So now he decided to rob, and he saw that the situation is good, but though he was suffering with hay fever, in his nose, but then he felt that's fine, I can just go, because it's the right situation for me to go and rob the safe. And he also calculated that there might be at least 15,000 pounds jewels, where it would be sufficient for him, and he could spend at least 5,000 every year, and so he could have his books bought, and then he could have his collection of expensive books. And he observed in such a way that the housekeeper hung the key at the kitchen door on a hook outside, so he knew where the keys were. So now he went, and he always wore gloves so that he doesn't leave any fingerprints. So let's see. A small dog was lying in the kitchen. It stirred, made a noise, and moved its tail in a friendly way. "All right, Sherry," Horace said as he passed. All you had to do to keep dogs quiet was to call them by their right names and show them love. The safe was in the drawing room behind a rather poor painting. Horace wondered for a moment whether he should collect pictures instead of books, but they took up too much room. In a small house, books were better. There was a great bowl of flowers on the table, and Horace felt his nose tickle. He gave a little sneeze and then put down his bag. He carefully arranged his tools. He had 4 hours before the servants returned. The safe was not going to be hard to open. After all, he had lived with locks and safes all his life. The burglar alarm was poorly built. He went in the hall to cut its wire. He came back and sneezed loudly as the smell of the flowers came to him again. How foolish people are when they own valuable things, Horace thought. A magazine article had described this house, giving a plan of all the rooms and a picture of this room. The writer had even mentioned that the painting hid a safe. But Horace found that the flowers were hindering him in his work. He buried his face in his handkerchief. Then he heard a voice say from the doorway, "What is it, a cold or hay fever?" Before he could think, Horace said, "Hay fever," and found himself sneezing again. So, now as he got into the house, he saw that there was a small dog sitting in the kitchen, and which means it turned and made noise, moved its tail in a friendly way. So now Horace knew tricks how to handle dogs. So he felt that you can handle any dog if you know him by his right name. And anyway, it's a small dog, so he won't surely harm. So he called him by its name. He said, "Okay, Sherry, that's fine. Just sit down." And he patted the dog, which made him feel, like somebody known. And then he knew where the safe was. It was in the drawing room. Drawing room is nothing but something like a hall, what we call in India. So, and then it was behind a poor painting, something like a dull painting where people would not really look at, not very attractive. So when he saw the paintings over there, he was tempted and he was thinking, shall I take all the paintings or shall I rob the safe to buy books? But then he realized he lived in a very small house and the paintings wouldn't be accommodated in that small house. So he thought it's better for books. So here, he again decided to rob the safe so that he can buy books. And he saw a great bowl, which means a big bowl of flowers on the table. And his nose started to tickle, with the smell of the flower. Again, he felt this sneeze at the nose, the itch at the nose, where he would again start getting hay fever. So now he took the tools and he calculated his time, which means the servants would come back in 4 hours and he has to finish this burglary by then. And the alarm which was set, see, most of the time abroad, every house has got a burglar alarm. So that if anybody breaks into the house, the thief or the burglar or anybody, the alarm goes off and it reaches the police. So it's interconnected to the police. So the local police and the head, everybody know, and immediately you get the police coming in. So here he saw that the burglar alarm was very weak. It was not really good. So he cut the wire of the burglar alarm and he started his work. And he was thinking, how foolish these people are, because who have valuable things, what all they do? What did he mean? See, there was a magazine article about this house. In a magazine, if you keep buying magazines about interiors or about house, sometimes they keep, posting pics of house which are beautifully built or beautifully designed, where people get to know how the houses are designed and all that. So the same way, this house was published in a magazine. Every room picture was taken and published, and even the writer wrote that there is a safe at this place in the house. So that's how he came to know that there is a safe. So how foolish sometimes. I mean, you end up doing things which can land up in trouble. So now this person came to know that there is a safe by reading in that magazine actually. So now as again he smelled the flowers, the smell was nice and strong, I believe. So as he was breathing in, the smells went in and then he started sneezing. And suddenly there was a voice from the doorway, from the entrance. And what was that? Somebody was asking, what is it, a cold or a hay fever? And without any second thought, immediately Horace answered, hay fever. And he found himself sneezing again. The voice went on, you can cure it with a special treatment, If you can find out just what plant gives you the disease, I think you'd better see a doctor. If you're serious about your work, I heard you from the top of the house just now. So, this person who was talking was also telling him about the treatment. And what was the person saying? You can get it cured if there is a special treatment, but if you know what is causing hay fever, because hay fever can be caused, as I told you, there are various reasons. So if you know which plant is causing you this disease, you can get it cured by the doctor and if you're really serious about your work, because when you're robbing, you don't want to get caught, right? So if you're serious about your work, I think you have to get it cute. And this person says, I saw, I heard you as I was on top of the house, and I came down hearing your sneeze. It was a quite kindly voice, but one with firmness in it. A woman was standing in the doorway, and Sherry was rubbing against her. She was young, quite pretty, and was dressed in red. She walked to the fireplace and straightened the ornaments there. Down, Sherry, she said. Anyone would think I'd been away for a month. She smiled at Horace and went on. However, I came back just in time, though I didn't expect to meet a burglar. So here, this lady, she had a very quiet, kindly voice, but it was very firm. So she was standing there, and Sherry, the little dog, was rubbing against her, and she was young, pretty, and was dressed in red. So she came to the fireplace, as you can see in the picture, and she straightened her ornaments, adjusted her ornaments, and then she, as the dog came close and was rubbing, she said, down, Sherry, it's fine. Anyone would think, I went away for a month. But yeah, I'm just back in time because I didn't expect to meet a thief, burglar, a thief, or a robber. Horace had some hope because she seemed to be amused at meeting him. He might avoid trouble if he treated her the right way. He replied, I didn't expect to meet one of the family. So now Horace was thinking in his mind, I think this lady is not screaming or yelling or panicking. So he was thinking, I think if I can, deal with her in a proper way, I can get away instead of getting caught. Because she seems to be interested, amused, interested, rather than, getting anxious or excited or scared, because she was talking so coolly, isn't it? Generally, when you see a burglar in your house, you wouldn't talk so sweetly, right? You would scream, wake everybody, make a big hangama, and then call the crowd and jump and, do whatever possible to get that, thief caught. But this lady was so quiet, so calm, and she was speaking so well. He thought, okay, I think I can handle this lady if I can really speak properly. So he said, I didn't expect a family member in the house. And she nodded, I see, what an inconvenience it is for you to meet me. What are you going to do? Horace said, my first thought was to run. Of course, you could do that, but I would telephone the police and tell them all about you. They'd get you at once. So, what did she say? She said, when he said, I didn't expect a family member, then she says, oh, I think I'm a great inconvenience now to you. So what are you going to do now? Then he says, my first thought is to run. I obviously will run away if any family member is at home. I'm not here to get caught. That's what he means there. Then she says, well, but you could do that, but I will call the police and they will catch you at once. So here, when the lady says, what are you going to do? He says, I would cut off the telephone wires first, because she says, I'll call the police, isn't it? So I would cut the telephone wires first, and then I would make sure that you could do nothing for some time. And few hours are enough for me. So she looked at him seriously. You'd hurt me? Horace paused and then said, I think I was trying to frighten you when I said that. You'd frighten me? Horace suggested. It would be nice if you forget you ever saw me. Let me go. So here she says, what would you do? He says that I'll cut the telephone wires and then I'll see that you cannot do anything for some time because few hours are enough for me to rob the safe. And then she says, what are you going to do? Are you going to hurt me? And then he says, no, I just thought I could frighten you. Then she says, no, you didn't frighten me at all. And then he says, okay, fine now, forget it. You just forget that you even saw me, let me go. It only shows that he's not interested to talk anymore. He just want to go away. Now the voice was suddenly sharp. Why should I? You were going to rob me. If I let you go, you'll only rob someone else. Society must be protected from men like you. Horace smiled. I'm not a man who threatens society. I steal only from those who have a lot of money. I steal for a very good reason. And I hate the thought of prison. She laughed and he begged, thinking that he had persuaded her. Look, I have no right to ask you for anything, but I'm desperate. Let me go, and I promise never to do this thing again. I really mean it. She was silent, watching him closely. Then she said, You're really afraid of going to prison, aren't you? She came over to him, shaking her head. I've always liked the wrong kind of person. She picked up a silver box from the table and took a cigarette from it. Horace, eager to please her, and seeing that she might help him, took off his gloves and gave her his cigarette lighter. You let me go. He held the lighter towards her. Yes, but only if you'll do something for me. Anything you say. Before we left for London, I promised my husband to take my jewels to our bank, but I left them in the safe. I want to wear them to a party tonight. So I came down to get them. But, Horace smiled, you've forgotten the numbers to open the safe, haven't you? So here the story moves on as Horace is convincing this lady of the house, please let me go. I just don't want to stay here and I'm not going to rob anybody. So please let me go. Then this lady, her voice becomes stern. And then she says, why should I allow you to go? You came to rob, isn't it? If I let you go, you'll rob somebody else. And society must be protected from men like you. Because you people are robbers, and if not me, you might rob somebody else. And then Horace says, I'm not that sort of a man. I'm not a threat to the society. I don't believe in causing any harm to the society. I only steal those people who have a lot of money, and that too I steal for a very good reason. And I hate the thought of prison. So here Horace is trying to justify his robbery, saying that, no, I'm not. That's why I just rob people who have a lot of money, and the reason is because I have a very good reason for that, and I just hate the thought of prison. So here he's trying to convince her, and then she laughs and he begs. Now he thinks that he has persuaded or convinced her by pleading her, but then she says something. She says, look, I have no right to ask you for anything. Oh no, he says to her, look, I have no right to ask you for anything, but I'm desperate. Let me go, and I promise never to do this thing again. So now he's telling her, convincing again, see, I don't want to ask anything, nor, want to even talk anything more. Just let me go. And I promise that I'm never going to rob anybody again. And I really mean it. So now she was silent. And then she was watching him very closely, because now she was just trying to observe whether he's true or what is up in her mind, we don't know. So she says, you are really afraid to go to prison, isn't it? And then she says, I always liked wrong kind of people. And then she takes up a silver box on the table which has cigarette, and well, I hope all of you know that even women smoke abroad. Well, even in India they've started doing in metropolitan cities. But from age beyond where we know that women would smoke, so abroad and all, women do smoke. Not all of them, but yeah, some of them. So here she took a cigarette, and then he wanted to somehow convince her and move away. So he takes a lighter, he takes off his gloves, and he has a lighter in the pocket. He takes and lights a cigarette, and then he says, you let me go, isn't it? And then she says, yeah, I will surely let you go, but you have to do something. And then he says, yeah, anything you say. So she says, before we left to London, I promised my husband to take my jewels to our bank, and I left it in the safe. But now I'm not able to take them, and I want to wear for a party tonight. So I came down to get them. And she was continuing. She said, when we left to London, I promised my husband that I'll take my jewels to our bank, but I left them in the safe, and now I want to wear them for a party tonight. That's the reason why I came down. And she's about to continue, but then Horace interrupts in between, and he says, okay, so you have forgotten the numbers to open the safe, haven't you? So let's see. Yes, replied the young lady. Just leave it to me, and you'll have them within an hour. But I'll have to break your safe. Don't worry about that. My husband won't be here for a month, and I'll have the safe mended by that time. And within an hour, Horace had opened the safe, given her the jewels, and gone happily away. For 2 days he kept his promise to the kind young lady. On the morning of the third day, however, he thought of the books he wanted, and he knew he would have to look for another safe. but he never got the chance to begin his plan. By noon, a policeman had arrested him for the jewel robbery at Shotover Grange. So now, what happened? This lady said, yeah, exactly. I forgot the safe number. To open the locker, you have a code sort of a thing. So she says, I have forgotten the numbers and now I need jewelry to wear for the party tonight. Then he says, okay, forget it. Just give me 1 hour and I'll do everything. Only thing I have to break your safe. Is that okay? Then she says, no problem. My husband will be back in a month, so I can get it repaired. So with that condition, Horace opens the safe. In an hour, he gives her the jewels and then he goes away. And as he promised her not to rob anybody, he stays inside for 2 days. And then on the third day, his thought of books and wanting to look for it and can I rob another safe? So all these thoughts again spring up in his mind. And as he goes out, one day what happens? A policeman arrests him. For what? For jewel robbery at Shotover Grange. Now Shotover Grange is the same place where this lady speaks to him and she says that she left the jewels and he opens the safe and gives to her. And she's the owner of the house. I hope you'll remember all this. So now his fingerprints, for he has opened the safe without gloves, were all over the room, and no one believed him when he said that the wife of the owner of the house had asked him to open the safe for her. The wife herself, a grey-haired, sharp-tongued woman of 60, said that the story was nonsense. So here, how did they catch him? Because his fingerprints were everywhere around the room, and he opened the safe without the gloves. Remember, he took off the gloves to give lighter to that lady when she took the cigarette? So this was the biggest mistake he did, because after that only she asked him to open the safe and he opened it. So now because his fingerprints were everywhere, they caught him and he said, the owner of the house only asked me to do this. I didn't rob. I opened it for her. And when he saw the owner of the house, she was a grey hair, means white hair. Sharp tongue, which means a very sharp, lady, where she was very fast in speaking. And she said, what rubbish. I never told anybody to open the safe. So here, the lady whom he saw was a young lady and the lady here is an old lady. So that is the biggest contrast, which means the lady that day was not the owner of the house. You got it? So, Horace is now the assistant librarian in the prison. He often thinks of the charming, clever young lady who was in the same profession as he was and who tricked him. He gets very angry when anyone talks about honor among thieves. So here, he has been tricked because the lady who was that day in the house wasn't the owner. She was rather another thief. Understand? So that young lady was in the same profession when she also was a thief. She also came to burgle the house, the safe, take away the jewels. So, but she was a very smart one, a very clever thief. She got it done by Horace and she got away with the jewels. Such a smart thing she was. And here Horace is, poor thing, have to undergo his prison, as a assistant librarian, as his punishment in the prison as an assistant librarian. And he really gets mad when anybody talks about honor among thieves. What is honor? Respect and integrity among thieves. You have to be truthful even in thieves profession and all that. So when somebody speaks about that, he gets mad because one thief took advantage of another thief and she got away with all the jewels and put him in trouble. So now he is in the prison, for his punishment, and he is serving as an assistant librarian in the prison. So this is the story, the question of trust. So the title, as says, is very apt, which means whom to trust. So here he trusted this lady thinking that she was the house owner, but then she wasn't, and she was another thief who also came to rob the safe. So it's a very in one way, whom to believe. That's the reason why the lesson is a question of trust. You thought it is something, but it came out to be something else. So sometimes you have to be careful, isn't it? Another lesson, another moral what we get here is, when you're caught in trouble, sometimes you get all the more
deeper in trouble to get out of it. You don't realize. This happens when you say a lie, and then to get over it, you say another lie, and this piles up. So you get into deeper trouble with days passing by. The same way, Horace, who wanted to get away, got caught in deep trouble because of this lady. So there's a very serious thing which we have to consider here. You can do a mistake, and sometimes to get away from that mistake, you get into deeper trouble. So it's always good that you don't do anything wrong which can lead you into deep trouble. Silly mistakes are fine, but something which is serious, something which can land you in deeper trouble, you have to think of it before you even get a thought. Understand? I think you shouldn't even entertain such thoughts which can land you in deeper trouble. So it can be like going away to a far place or whatever, but not ever doing such things. Eating a chocolate, or just doing something, not studying or watching TV. These are silly ones. That's fine, but don't ever get into any deeper trouble. Don't ever, like going away, going out with friends or whatever. Please always inform your parents. Don't ever do any such thing, because sometimes these things which you think are silly can sometimes land you in deep trouble. So children, you are young, life seems to be very exciting to you, but don't ever take any decisions that can land you in deeper trouble. So sometimes we learn morals, or we learn life lessons through such stories. So it's very important to take morals from everything that we learn. We don't have to do everything by ourselves. We can learn from such stories that how we can be careful, how we can be smart, how we can protect ourselves and our family from falling in trouble. Okay, so this person who was having a good business, he was having a decent name in the society, today landed up in trouble. Now, did he get the jewels? No. Did he really, take away everything? No. So, one person is benefited and the other person is ruined. So, this is very important. So, be smart, be kind, be good, but even safeguard yourself and your family. So, this is a wonderful story. Hope all of you have understood. So, now, for your homework, please write down the summary and write the character sketch of Horace and the lady thief also who has cheated Horace by being smart. And as I always say, please note down the difficult words and write the meanings. That's very, very important. And then, do you think Horace had to rob because he was having a decent business? How can he justify Horace being a thief? Do you think it was right on his part, or he should have been, just kind enough to continue with his business, even though he had a hobby? Because here he had a hobby, and this hobby had become his weakness to rob. So, do you think that is right? Your hobby becoming a weakness, which has finally landed you in trouble. For Horace, it has happened that way. So, do you think it is right? Do you think it is right to have a hobby which can land you in trouble? Or do you think it is always good to follow the right path, even if you have a hobby, to wait for the right moment, to go in the right way? So please justify and write, Horace had to be right, or this way was right for him. Which one is right? I hope you have understood. So write the answer. I want you to give your reasons, okay? A hobby which can lead you in trouble is good or bad? In a very simple way. A hobby which can lead you in trouble, which can put you in deep trouble, is good or bad? Do you even have to have such a hobby? So write your answers. There are 3 questions for you. Write down your homework. Okay. So take care. Thank you and God bless you.